Okay, got our first offering here from one of the nation's most unique breweries. It's out of Eureka, California, which is in the northern part of the state, I do believe. This is Lost Coast India Pale Ale, Lost Coast IPA, an American IPA coming in at 6.5% alcohol by volume. Now, the rarity of this brewery is the fact that it was discovered and founded by two females. It's one of the rare all-female owned breweries in the United States. It was founded by Barbara Groom, who is a pharmacist, and Wendy Pound, who was a family counselor. So they got together, they purchased a castle back in 1989 after a few travels in England and studying the brewing practices in different brew pubs out there with the English stuff. Purchased the castle, turned it into a brewery, and business boomed. They moved down the road not too long after that, 1990 as a matter of fact, and opened up Lost Coast Brewery. So that's the story of Lost Coast, and kind of took off, and here we are out east, able to enjoy Lost Coast beers, as they are shipped in many, many states. Uses this particular beer uses the bittering from Columbus hops. It's dry hopped with a lot of Willamette and Centennial hop flowers as well. So it's the Indica IPA, Lost Coast Indica IPA. Here is the elephant Maharaja looking thing, I guess, on the label. Smaller bottle. Let's see if there's anything on here. It says Indica Pale Ale is a smooth, full-bodied, unfiltered beer. It's radically hopped to give it an intense spiritual aroma. So, of course, we've done many American IPAs. Probably the number one style that we have done. You're not a microbrewery unless you brew an IPA. Very few do not. And we'll pour it into our pint glass here, a standard vessel for an IPA, and we see that classic orangey, light orange. Actually, this is maybe not too classic. It's a little bit more foggy and orangey than I was anticipating. A little more looking like that Sati from Dogfish Head that I reviewed a little while ago. Nice fluffy head, definitely fluffy. After doing the Hams beer, which was a fizzy head, this is a fluffy craft brew kind of head that you're more used to when it comes to beers. And just an overall classic look of the style. Maybe a little more orangey than usual, as I mentioned. Definitely getting that citrusy aroma, that Centennial hop smell that you can really kind of stands out. Smelling more like an East Coast IPA, not getting the grapefruity West Coast IPA smell of this. This is maybe a very Eastern kind of look to it, smell to it. That is. Overall, just a nice smelling beer. Not anything to write home about. Not really distinguishing itself too much from others of the same style, but definitely serviceable. As we'll get the taste now of Lost Coast Indica IPA. Indica IPA. Here we go. Hey, I'm kind of a little vanilla on this one. It's not really. I'm getting a little bit of a weird aftertaste with it. But I'm not really blown away by the taste. It's a good taste. It's not anything awful. Getting a little bittering aftertaste. The spices kind of hit you right up front, but the bittering aftertaste at the end kind of makes it a bit of a tough one to down, but not too bad. It's a good tasting beer. It's not going to win any awards in my book, but it's a good tasting beer. It's a run-of-the-mill kind of representation of the style. I've seen cases of this out here in Pennsylvania going for about $55. I think that's way too much for a beer that just basically doesn't taste like a West Coast IPA. Not saying that it's a West Coast IPA, but it's basically you can get beers that are much better East Coast wise for much less. That said, taking price point completely out of it, which I try to do in every review, basically an average IPA. I'm going to give Indica IPA from Lost Coast Brewery a 6 out of 10.